In this week's episode, we find out what made Chris say this.
We've recently separated ourselves from it because we've got our own identity now. And we are back. You have tuned it back in. We have made it through the 4th of July. I still got 10 fingers. Ain't nothing blowed up, but you've tuned it back in. This is LotTalk powered by Lottop. I am Chris Keene, one of your co-hosts, joined by the all-famous Peepaw himself, also known as John Anderson, and Mr. Ronaldo Leonard. Come on, baby. Guns up. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Fantastic.
It's all good in the hood, my man. 250.
Happy
The celebration behind us.
Happy
Ready to go
250.
ahead and finish up the rest of 26.
Is day one. We're now working through the first year of the next 250. I'm gonna tell y'all, the 4th of July is my most favorite holiday out of all holidays. It is my most favorite holiday. We would be completely out of line if we did not take just 30 seconds here or more and say thank you. Thank you to the men and women that have served our country to give us this independence, to give us this freedom. Thank you to those that are left behind when our family members go out to protect our freedoms. They don't get to go do that. They don't get the opportunity to serve us without enormous support from the loved ones of those out there serving our country. So we thank you for just the sacrifice that you've given, that you continue to give, for the family members that you've given, that you continue to give by letting our servicemen and women protect that very freedom that we've had for the last 250 years, and God willing, another 250. Anderson,
Greatest country on earth. Greatest country on earth. And if you don't believe me, just ask any of the soccer fans that are in from Europe. They'll tell you loud and proud. I love it. You know what? I love it because it reminds me of how great it is over here, right? I love every bit of it, man. I love every bit of it.
Absolutely. Is it perfect? No. But as long as a collective, we're all putting our energy and our effort towards making it better than it is, we're going to keep on moving in the right direction, right?
Let's all make it
That's what it's all about.
All make it a better place, man. Let's all make it a better place.
In all seriousness, though, yes, thank you. We
Amen.
appreciate it because of the sacrifice. We get to do shenanigans like this each and every week. And Brett's going back there saying, amen, that it's definitely shenanigans that you some pull off every single week. So with that being said, I mean, we've been on a social media term for the last several weeks. And now we're introducing out, something that, hey, listen, you may already be doing it, and kudos to you. I applaud you. I'm glad that you are. But I have a sneaky suspicion that there's a lot of y'all out there that aren't leveraging AI with automotive intelligence. I mean, last week I talked about it. Our president, our founder, CEO, Mr. Jason Rice, he looks at AI and uses it in a different, acronym. He says automotive intelligence. Have some automotive intelligence, because you still got to have a human being in today's time. You still got to have a human being to make the AI work for you in the best way, shape, or form. Now, I talked about it last week. John, Old Dog New Tricks. This is part 2 of Old Dog New Tricks. First time I showed this to John, I mean, my God, he just absolutely thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. And he sat there and now uses it for everything. And what I'm talking about, folks, is that little bitty button at the top right-hand side of the screen. If you use Google Chrome as your browser, which strongly recommend that you do, because of everything that Robin talked about a couple weeks ago with your YouTube channel and YouTube and Google and everything tied together. But at the top right-hand side of the screen, there's a Ask Gemini. Let's use that to help us in our industry speak the same language that our consumers are speaking. I just want to get right into it, John. I just want to get right in and show the viewers, if you're watching on the YouTube, and if you're not, hit pause, go to LotTalk podcast, powered by Lottop. Go search for that in YouTube. And instead of listening to this, you can watch it right there. Drop comments. Tell us that, oh my gosh, this is good content, or oh my gosh, you guys are morons. Really don't care. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think. But you sit there, folks, and we got customers every single day that we need to call, text, email. John, what's the famous thing we always hear from our dealers? Well, I called them yesterday. What follows after that, John?
What do you want me to do? I called him yesterday. What do you want me to do?
It's like, oh my gosh. Okay. You're right. So here, listeners, viewers, I'm going to use our good friends again over at Bozard. I'm going to use their website. I want you to just think about this for a minute. Now, let me set the stage of this. Bozard is a Ford dealership. Now, typically speaking, when you work for a Ford dealership, you rip your shirt open, you got a big blue oval. You work for a Chevrolet dealership, you rip your shirt open, you got the big bow tie, or you got the Toyota sombrero, or whatever the case may be. You 100%, you just bleed that manufacturer's colors. But in your pre-owned department, you don't have just your brand. So what we've been talking about, and John brought up an old school term called a drip campaign, in terms of, hey, what do you want me to say to the customer? I just called him yesterday. I just texted him yesterday. I just emailed him yesterday. Well, what we don't want you to say is, hey, Ronaldo, are you still in the market for a car? That's what we don't want you to. What we don't want you to say is, hey, great news, that vehicle's available. What time can you be here, this morning or afternoon? Now, I'm not saying don't ask for an appointment. What I'm saying is earn the right to ask for an appointment. Earn the right. But if I'm a Ford dealership and I got a Chevrolet product on my lot, I may not know a darn thing about this thing. But if you use that little Gemini button right there at the top of the page, tell me about this Chevy Colorado. Oh my goodness. Looky there.
Dude, that's a world-class walk around just like that.
I mean, John, how many times have you heard me use the acronym SPACED? Safety, performance, appearance, comfort, economy, dependability. What if the person looking at this Colorado is thinking about economy? Look at this. So for the listeners, yeah, Jiminy. Oh, Jiminy.
Ask Jiminy.
Jiminy
so
Cricket.
the listeners, all I'm simply typing into the old Jiminy here is, how's the fuel mileage? What was that, Donald? 3 seconds?
If
there's fuel economy. Hey, John, how many times is a consumer, because what's the number? How many leads or how many inquiries does a consumer do on average?
12 to 15, my friend.
Okay. So 12 to 15. Listeners, viewers, do you think they're only looking at Chevy Colorados? Show me a side-by-side comparison to the 2024 Nissan Frontier. There it is. I mean, John, you've used this with dealers. Give us some of the best practice you've given dealers on how to use this with their follow-up.
Well, I mean, basically it's exactly what you're doing, Chris. I mean, if there's, let's say that you have a father that reaches out to you. If you get a lead, from a customer and you're one of 12 to 15 dealers, I don't have any reason to refute that data. But let's say it's not that many. Let's say it's 8. So you're one of 8. What you should be doing is showing, first off and foremost, how much you care about the customer. Not, it's not a dollar sign to you. It's how much you care. And so, I want to ask them questions. Chris, you and I were talking about this the other day, right? Just asking questions of that customer. Hey, what do you really like about the vehicle you're driving now? What are some of the options on that vehicle that you really like, right? You really appreciate. So I'm just trying to find out where that customer's coming from, where they're living at, what's important to them. Let's say you have a father that reaches out looking for a vehicle for his daughter that's going to college, and safety is important to that father, which that would be the first thing I would think about for my daughter if I was getting a car from her for her going to college. And so how easy is it to plug that into Ask Jiminy? right? Tell me about the safety features on this vehicle and let it feed you the information. Could you do that on your own? Absolutely. Can you do it can you scour the entire internet in 15 seconds and deliver the product? No, you can't. So leverage the tool and then use the information. Look, let's put together a few pieces of data here. We talked about the average customer sends out 12 to 15 leads. All right. We also, the car guys with coffee, Fred and Sweet Lou were on with us, and they told us that the average customer is now spending up to 19 hours researching their purchase, right? So that's gone up. So customers are doing a lot more research, I gather, from what Fred and Sweet Lou told us. And so if I put those two pieces of data together, 12 to 15, 19 hours, how much value do I build for a customer that's reached out to me if I'm doing this type of work and delivering them the goods on what they're interested in? Am I not saving them part of that 19 hours, because that would be research they would be doing themselves, right? And does that I know this sounds simple, but seriously, do we think about this, right? Is that building value with our customer, right? And if they've sent out 12 different leads to 12 different dealers, is it important as an individual for me to build value with that customer so that I set myself apart from what I've experienced over the last 3 or 4 cars that I bought? If you just get back to them in a reasonable amount of time, you're building value, because half the time nobody responds to. Robin said it last week, right? Nobody responds to. That's the first thing, is I got to respond to them, right? So yeah, I think with the tools that we have nowadays, man, I just think it's a heck of a lot easier than when I was coming up, as far as being able to deliver quality content and set yourself aside from those other 12 to 15 people that are working for that customer. I think you've got all the tools necessary. You gotta leverage them and use them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It goes back to, and we talked about it just briefly in the last episode, becoming that trusted advisor. Everybody wants to find that guy.
Yep.
And the guy that is doing things with their content that is going to save them time, that prospect's time overall, that 19 hours. You shrink it to 17 hours. Not only do you separate yourself, but you also give yourself a pay raise, right?
Yep.
Yep. And if you take that 19 hours, you cut it down to 10, how much more valuable are you? And then how many more people?
How much more efficient are you?
Absolutely. And then how many more people are they going to tell, hey, go see John? I don't care what you think about buying, who you've been talking to. Go see John. He'll take care of it. Tell him I sent you.
And so I need to add something to this, what we're talking about, because it comes from a meeting I had yesterday, and large dealer, lots of leads. And I was training the group of salespeople on a call, and the internet manager was on the call directing things. And he said, this is what he said to me. You don't seriously expect my guys to do a every 3-day contact on a 50 to 60 day old lead that is in the CRM. Now what we're talking about, so I can be clear with the listeners and viewers, I was referring to the leads that are still active in the CRM, and the vehicle they sent the lead in on is still in stock on the lot. And the manager said, with the amount of leads these guys get, you don't seriously expect me to have them do it every 3-day contact on a 50, 60 day old lead. And I said, yes, I do. Why wouldn't you? He goes, my guys don't have time to do that with the amount of leads that are coming in. And so I went and showed him and separated. They had, over the last 60 days, they had something close to 900 active leads in their CRM. And of that 900 active leads, I don't remember the exact number. It was a little over 300 that were on inventory and stock, and they had about 20 salespeople. And I'm like, why? I mean, where am I missing the boat? Why are you getting overwhelmed by this? If we're looking at those active leads and the amount of salespeople you got, why would that be difficult for them to every 3 days? And so I mentioned that to make this point. I have a personal situation going on. And so I've been doing a lot of studying on the brain, research. And what I'm realizing that I've never realized before is, I guess I realized I never bought into it, is that you can retrain your brain and you can, your body will follow. You can heal yourself by the way your thought process and your perception, right? But it's training, it's retraining that perception, right? Your brain's an amazing master computer, and you only use a portion of it, but it has an amazing amount of power to it. And so it's a matter of retraining that and harnessing that power. And so when I think about this, I'm thinking, why would you ever look at a customer at any given point in their process, as long as even if you reached out to them for, and that was his point. If we reached out to the customer over a 40-day, 45-day period, and we've got no response from the customer, why would I have them waste their time? Well, you're thinking about it from your time frame. You're not thinking about it from your customer's time frame. What if they're 60 days out from buying a vehicle and they're not going to reach out to anybody until they're ready to buy? But you're going to tell me that you're not going to continue to respond to them or reach out to them because they haven't responded to you? That's focusing on myself. That's not being a customer focused person. That's focusing on myself. And here's my point to this. Why wouldn't you, every chance I get, why wouldn't you train yourself to go after every customer that you can put yourself in front of, irregardless of the time frame? Because over time, I'm stacking up those contacts, and at some point, those things are going to come home to roost, because I've stayed diligent to that every 3-day, every 5-day, and keeping myself in front of that customer. And then if you add to it what Chris and Ronaldo are talking about today, where I'm delivering as a result of AI, I can have a limitless treasure trove of information that I can pull up and deliver to them over a long period of time. I don't get it. Why wouldn't you invest yourself that way? If this is truly what you want to do, listen, I'll be honest, I got into the car business until I figured out what I wanted to do 40 years ago. Right? So
Yep.
once you determine that this is what you want to do, why wouldn't you invest yourself that way and retrain your brain to go after it? And that, don't look at it as a negative. Oh, this person hadn't gotten back with me in 50 days. Or this, I used to do, again, I'm going to tell on myself, right? I used to talk to somebody on the phone and get off the phone and go, this person isn't a buyer. I ain't buying nothing. They're a jack. Really? Really? You can determine that on a phone call that you got a jack, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's where I didn't mean to go sidetrack there, but my goodness.
John, you're actually spot on. Okay. You're actually spot on. So listeners and viewers, I want you to think about this for a minute. And Naldo, you and I have had this conversation a million times over. Yep. I mean, a million times over, we have had this conversation. I'm going to pull up a little bit of data here for everybody. Now, I want you to look right now. The average days to retail turn, and this is information we get from Black Book. This is across the nation. But the average days to retail turn is 34 days. So I want you to think about this for a minute, listeners and viewers. You're going to have John Doe consumer that woke up this morning and says, I want to buy a car. And in 3 hours, there's going to be one sitting in their driveway. You're going to have buyers that wake up this morning and say, I need or want to buy a car. And it's 34 days before they buy one. When you get that submission across to you, by the way, that 34 is an average. So that means there's people above 34 days before they made a decision to buy a car. So I want you to think about this for a minute, listeners and viewers. You have no idea where the consumer is at in that funnel, in their buying journey. You have no idea. But to John's point, leveraging and utilizing that AI. Here's a simple question I just asked, using the example vehicle here of this Chevrolet Colorado. When it comes to safety and economy, why should a person buy this truck? Proactive safety that actively prevents accidents. It's telling you right here. Again, you don't know where the consumer is at in their journey, so why would you send most off-road trucks to give you basic alerts? But this Colorado features an upgraded active driver assist technology thanks to its factory safety and technology packages. Smart economy. It's a big truck power without the V8 fuel bill. 310 horse. To get that, it meant buying a crew cab, gas guzzling V8. But this efficient turbocharged 2.7 liter, 391 foot-pounds of torque in it. I mean, look, providing to the consumer 52 days later on a lead, this information versus, hey, are you still in the market? Hey, that vehicle's still available. No shit, that thing's still available 52 days later. What's wrong with it? Because that's all you're telling the consumer. When you go, hey, great news, John, that Colorado you looked at 52 days ago is still available. Shit.
What's the greatest compliment that any salesperson has ever gotten when dealing with a prospect? I've always read it as, you know what? I wasn't expecting to buy anything today.
Yeah.
Or I came in, I was just looking and I wasn't planning on making a purchase today. So what's to say that if we up our game with the content that we're providing these prospects out of the gate, that we don't move them up and it happens before day 34? It amazes me. And then to John's point, you got, you think I should have my salespeople reach out to a 60-day-old lead every 3 days?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because that vehicle's more than 60 days old. And in order to sell it, you're going to have to connect with those prospects. Right.
Or that vehicle's at least 60 days old.
Right. Right. When the first lead came in, it was day 45 and we had it priced at 101% to the market.
What do you think my shot? What do you think my shot is to get those salespeople to follow up with those customers after he said that in front of the whole group of salespeople? Right. What do you think my shot?
Tough. It'll be tough.
Hey, listen, I refuted him. I refuted him in front of I said, I absolutely do. And here's why. Right. But, just to give you an example, you guys know I was driving a Tahoe and that Tahoe, I put a lot of miles on that Tahoe in a short period of time. And I'm thinking this whole time, man, that thing's still running good. Got no reason. Nice vehicle. You can't tell those things. It was new. You can't tell anymore. It's hard to tell, the year of them. And so I'm thinking I'll drive this thing till it gets 200,000 miles on it. And I wasn't actively looking for anything. And then we're on the podcast and Chris brings up Rams with 2.9 and $4,250 cash back. And I go, And so I just start I'm start reaching out to a few local dealers just to see what kind of response I get. And then the dealer that responded to me did an excellent job, and they weren't a dealer partner of ours when I engaged with them, but like within a week later, little did I know that Chris and Eric were getting ready to contract this group as a dealer partner. So about the same time I bought the vehicle, they became a dealer partner of ours, which worked out really good. And not because I didn't want to I was trying to do business with a dealer partner on a different brand, but I was kind of meeting some difficulty there on what I felt like the Tahoe was worth. And so, they were quick to respond. It was interesting the way they did it, because they had a young lady reach out to me right away and got some really quick information from me. And then I heard from a second person. And so they just kind of walked me in. It wasn't abrasive at all. And they just kind of walked me down. And I was straight up asking them questions. I need to know what my trade's worth. Well, can you send us some pictures? Because they're, in the state of Oklahoma, everything's 2-3 hours away from you. So they're a considerable way away from me. And so next thing you know, I send them pictures and I end up buying a Ram. And I no more intended to buy a Ram. I was just investigating. So, you're going to be hard pressed to convince me that we should give up on a customer any phase of the process until the customer says, don't bother me anymore, or yes, I'll come in. Right. Especially if we've got a vehicle in stock that satisfies that customer's needs.
What they did is they gave you all the necessary information you needed
100%
to make an educated buying decision.
100%.
which is
100%.
why we're on this conversation
Right.
of utilizing the Gemini to give the necessary information somebody needs to make an educated buying decision. Don't be that schmuck that is sitting there saying, still the market.
Yeah, don't try. You make a good point, Chris, an excellent point. Don't try to push them into the decision. Give them the, just like Trish said, give them excellent information and let them walk themselves in. I guess that was my point I was going into.
They're doing it.
If I'm talking, listen, if I walk towards people instead of trying to separate people, if I just walk towards people, and I'm using that as an analogy, but if I've got a ton of leads and I just continue, right? And so that does take intention, right? You can't, it's not, I was in an area of one of our dealer partners a week ago Saturday because I was picking my son up, and I thought, you know what, I'm going right by the dealership. I'm just going to stop in and shake hands. We've seen each other on camera. We worked together, but I never physically met them. So I'm like right there. So I went past the dealership. I swung a UE, pulled in, I got out of the truck, and there's like 7 guys sitting out on benches in front of the dealership.
Oh shit!
I was
Waiting
like,
on the up bus.
I was like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? You holding down the front of the store? And they all laughed. And I go, why aren't you in on your computers where the customers are at? What are you waiting on out here? Right. And so that's my point is, look, I know you need to take a break. I know you eat lunch. I'm not sitting there telling you to have your forehead on the grindstone. What I am saying is if you just intentionally reach out to people and just, what's that book? 150,000 of your closest friends. And it talks about making connections, right? And you just, all of a sudden now, Chris and Ronaldo, to your point, trusted advisor. So now all of a sudden you're a trusted advisor. And maybe that customer that you sold 3 years ago reached out to you, hey, John, do you know a good plumber? I need a plumber, right? And you become that person that is that connector, right? And the next thing you know, you have built a huge brand for yourself because you're a connector. So why wouldn't I want to relish an opportunity to reach out to every person that I possibly can and continue to do so until they tell me to leave them alone? And I'll respect that, right? You tell them if they call me up and say, hey man, dude, I appreciate it, but you got to stop. Right? I'll respect that. But until they do that, I don't care if they're 90 or 120 days old. It's an opportunity for me. And the more opportunities I have, the more opportunities are going to be delivered to me. And so that, to me, it's simple math. I didn't look at it when I was a young salesperson. I didn't have these tools available to me. We have the benefit of our software now, and we see all this stuff from a data side, and we're working with hundreds of dealers and we can see this. And so I understand when you're sitting there in your own dealership and you got your tunnel vision on, but dude, there's an amazing opportunity in our industry. And there's, as Chris and Ronaldo are talking about today, there's a wonderful way to harness those opportunities now really quickly. How quickly, compared to when we were coming up, guys, and selling cars, now how quick, look, how many people could we serve versus a guy today with the tools that they have, the ability to serve how many more people than we could, right? Because they can get that information so quick. We had to sit down. I remember my first sales job. They handed me a book of worksheets, a pen, and brochures. Here, go study these cars.
Oh, yeah.
Customers ask me a question. I'm over there at my desk flipping through the brochure trying to find the answer.
Hey, remember the product books, the big ass 3-ring binder?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I mean, what you just did in less than 3 seconds on Gemini, we would have to go grab the order catalog, go through all the specs, and we always had a checklist in the back. So you could, any particular feature that a vehicle had, you could check the competitive set and see which ones had and which ones didn't. And you'd sit there and go through all that stuff. And then you might have 3 bullet points where you could compare what the customer said that they were considering and yours, and then craft an email and send it out and hope that they were logging into AOL to get your email and see exactly what it said. Oh, boy. Yes.
But
Doing less with more.
Naldo, But the differentiator now, and John alluded to it, okay? When I talked about essentially meeting the customer where they're at, providing the necessary information they need to make a logical buying decision. Just like at the dealership, the staff today, I've said this on the podcast a million times, to work a car deal in today's time is brain damage of all the different things that you've got to log into just to freaking print a worksheet out, just to get a deal ready for finance, all the different OFACs and everything that you got to check and this and that to make sure you ain't the Taliban and make sure that you ain't got drug money and, just all kinds of shit. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, I feel bad for these guys. I miss the day of a Sharpie. Okay. But, you think about that though, these consumers, they can secure their financing, they can secure their trade, they can secure their vehicle, they can secure transportation, they can secure everything from their phone. But yet we go to them speaking from the past and not meet the customer where they're at. And all we've been trying to articulate, Ronaldo, to the listeners and viewers over the last couple weeks is leverage the technology you have to meet the customer where they're at. Think like a consumer. I mean, Naldo, the first time I said that with a dealer and you were on the call, I mean, it's like I watched a little light bulb go off in your head like, well, shit, that's the easiest way to put it. Think like a consumer.
Oh, yeah.
What's your overwhelming thought? I mean, because John brought up so many great points there. What's your overwhelming thought in this using the Gemini from a sales BDC standpoint?
Is just attacking it in a way that is going to be attractive to the way that this particular prospect is probably thinking about this vehicle. Because with any vehicle out there, you got two types of customers. You got one customer who's looking for that 2024 Chevrolet Colorado, and then you've got others that are out there looking for a small pickup truck in that price range. And we don't know which it is. And so if I take my car guy hat off and say, if I were looking for a small pickup truck in that price range, what would be important? Attacking it from that perspective, offering information that you feel like they would know or that you would want to know if you were looking at that vehicle at that price range. And then also asking those high quality questions to identify whether or not you're on the mark or not. How soon are you considering making a decision on whether or not you're going to purchase this vehicle? Well, I'm 60 days out. Okay, no problem. Giving you all the information that you need in order to make a well-informed decision is the easiest part of my job. Consider these things. When would you like for me to follow up with you? And what's the best way to follow up with you? Phone call, email, text, and give them something of value every single time, but also ask for something of value in return. And that's all that I would do. If I were that person, what would I want to know? And how would I want to receive that information? And then try to figure out exactly whether or not the way that I'm thinking about it when I take my car guy hat off is on the mark or not. Because they'll tell you every single time, right? Do you ever ask a customer, what do I need to do during your business? And them just go blank and, well, you can't. That's probably one out of 100 will say, we ain't going to do business. Well, what have you gained from that? You got a jack on the other end of the call. You move on, right?
Now you can call them the jack.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but it is easy. We've just gotten to the point where we do have so many tools to work with. We're actually getting, we're getting less success with more tools to work with, getting less from more, right? But simplify it. Just keep it simple, And we've said it. If we've said it once, we've said it a million times. People are looking for an experience. John just validated that with buying a Ram truck. Had no intention, but he ran into a salesperson or an organization that was focused on sales, not the sales prevention department, right? It's about the experience. And guys can elevate how they execute that whole process just by thinking about it. If we got to meet the customer where they're at, first of all, we got to understand where they're coming from, and then we can meet them, right?
Yeah. You got to know what direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you to be able to intersect, you got to know the direction.
Yeah. I've never been accused of being the coldest beer in the fridge, right? But I did know that if I ask a question and I listen, I was going to get the answer of what I needed to do to kind of turn this from a prospect into an owner, right?
But I think the key though, Ronaldo, is because we've all been taught this. You know, John, Ronaldo, me, anybody else in this industry, you've been taught this. If you just shut up and listen to the customer, they're going to tell you exactly what they need for you to be able to transact with them. But the key to that, though, especially with what you're talking about, the information highway that's out there and the resource highway that's out there, the key to it, though, is you have to ask the right questions. And the right question isn't, are you still in the market for a vehicle? No. That's not the right question. The Gemini can help you, the Chat GPT, Claude, or any other, AI tool that you're using, it can help you ask the right questions if you just let it. I mean, with that same exact vehicle example we've been using today in that Chevy Trail Boss, because I was curious. I was literally curious. I asked it, what's the difference between the Trail Boss and the Z71? And it rattled off the 3 things that was a significant difference. And it point blank told me, sell the Trail Boss if the customer wants a mean, aggressive, lifted stance straight off the lot. Sell the Z71 if the customer plans to use the truck primarily as a daily driver or commuter or a highway cruiser.
So let me ask you that. With that being said, what's the next question that you're going to ask?
What, to the consumer? Are you using this as a primary daily commuter driver, or are you looking for something that's got a meaner, aggressive stance and will give away that more luxury to have that more rugged look? It's a question I'm going to ask.
Well, to put, going back to that, warm beer in the fridge, how do you plan on using this vehicle? I was on the special ed bus.
It's very, very simplistic. So I don't know, guys. Listeners and viewers, here's what I'm going to ask. Here's what I'm going to ask of you. Go to our YouTube page. Once you go to LotTalk podcast powered by Lottop, you search that on YouTube. It's a lot easier if you subscribe to it because you get the alerts of the next episodes and the recent drops and things of that nature. But I want you to go there and I want you to drop a comment. And I want you to drop a comment of how you see benefit or how you are currently utilizing the AI in providing the consumer public the necessary information they need to buy a car. Drop in the comments how you're using AI to help craft your social on the various different platforms, because they're all different. But most importantly, if you're intrigued and you're like, man, this all sounds great, where do I start? And you want some help with that, you can find John Anderson's information, Ronaldo Leonard's information, my information right there at LotTalkPodcast.com. You can find our information there. We will charge you $0 to have a conversation and help you get started. I know, right? We should, you know what? It's almost like anytime you try to do something for free, nobody wants to do it. We should start charging y'all. We should start charging you like 99 cents or something.
Actually, I think we should just go ahead and put a tipped button on there. So you're like 15, 18, 22%, and they can just click which one. And
shoot, I feel like it's 18%. Who tips that anymore? Shoot, they Uber ask you for 30% now. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Don't get me started. We're about to go on a rant. I don't even remember where it was, but I just walked up to a counter and ordered a meal, and you got to tap on the register, and then it says, "Would you like the tip?" And it started 18%, 20%, 22%. I was like,
"How about you want me to tip you for me doing the work?"
Right.
I give you the tip of this knife.
I feel like anymore I have to pay for it's like my kids, man. In order for them to take my advice, I got to pay them, right? They don't they don't see the wealth in the years, right? There's a great book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers. It's an excellent book, and it talks about in order to be considered an expert in any field, it takes about 10,000 hours on average.
10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so this is why I joke with my kids. I'm like, I got a few more than 10,000 hours under my belt living on this planet, right? So some of the stuff if you'd listen to me, can save you some pain, right? And so I feel like that a lot of times with what we talk about on here, right? All we're just trying to do is save you guys some pain, right? And here, I would up Chris's offer. Come on the show with us and tell us what you're doing. Spend some time with us. We'd love to have you on here. Spend some time with us.
Shoot, we'll walk right through and let you run the screen, or we'll run it for you, and walk us through, show us what you're doing. Now, if you don't want to give all your tips and secrets away, that's fine too. But reach out to us and let us know. Heck yeah, I love it. Come join the show.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Have like 3 or 4 BDC or salespeople on at one time. That'd be awesome, man. Just trading some opportunity. Talk about some opportunities and trading some ideas and just sometimes you get people away from their environment a little bit. They open up and blossom a little bit, man, that's the best opportunities for learning. So yeah, that'd be awesome, man. 3 or 4 of you'd want to do that.
We will promote the heck out of you to help continue build your brand as well. So anytime you can associate yourself with something that's already got some traction, that's what we did. We associated ourselves with, the LotTalk podcast. We associated with Lottop, our parent company, because it's got a lot of traction. We've recently separated ourselves from it because we've got our own identity now. So we encourage you to do the same thing. Come hitch your wagon to us. We'll drag you along. Shit, we ain't scared.
I ain't scared at all.
That being said, go to LotTalkPodcast.com, look up John, look up Ronaldo, look up myself. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you. Or as John said, join the podcast, reach out to us. We're happy to have you on our next episode. But until then, bring the questions. Let us know what you've been doing with social, some things that might help, or ask some more questions of some things that you are thinking about doing but not sure. The Gemini, how to leverage and utilize it in your follow-up. Ask those questions or drop comments of exactly what you're doing and how that's helped. We won't call your name and your dealership out, so that way you ain't giving away all your trade secrets and, sharing it with people inside your market that you're competing against. But let us know. Let us know what you guys are doing. And like I said, most importantly, go to LotTalk Podcast, powered by Lottop, right there in the YouTube. If you're on the Apple, make sure to like us, share us, comment on us, give us a review. We gladly would appreciate it because we do this to give back to you guys. All we ask in return is just give us a like, give us a share, give us a rating. Okay. But until then, continue to enjoy this time, continue to enjoy that freedom and independence that we have. And next week, never know what kind of crazy ass content we're going to bring you, but we're going to bring it. Until then, I'm Chris Keene, one of the co-hosts, joined by the infamous Peepaw himself, Mr. John Anderson, and Mr. Ronaldo Leonard. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we wish you guys nothing but the most success possible. On that note, we out.